Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So, since early last year, early in 2020, I have been advising people to stock up on dry foods, canned foods, etc., because we have had no way to know what was going to be happening. I predicted at that time the disruption to the supply chain. And even I had no idea the disruption to the supply chain was going to continue on this long and continue getting worse. Obviously, I could not predict a mega drought in the West. We do get hit by hurricanes and so forth every year, which also cause disruptions in the supply chain. There was no way I could predict the disruptions to the fuel, the energy supply, such as from the storm in Texas, the gas pipeline that shut down, not because the gas pipeline was, compromised by any hacking event, but because the corporate records were impacted by the supply line, and the gas company, Colonial, suspended gas through their pipeline because of that. And now, Hurricane Ida has impacted the offshore drilling, which impacts 96% of the offshore drilling in the Gulf Coast region. So now gas prices are going to go back up while we've got disruptions in the supply chain, disruptions in the food supply. Food prices are increasing and increasing, rent is increasing, etc., etc. Then we've got an eviction crisis, which is, formulating right this minute. So it is a very good idea to stock up on whatever you can, because we have no idea what is going to come next. Will there be more weather events? Are we going to see mass, social disruption, riots, protests, etc., which can also impact the supply chain, the food supply, etc., etc. So it's good to be safe if you are able to, use any of your spare resources for this purpose. This can take a lot of different forms. Just every paycheck, when you go grocery shopping, buy a couple of extra packages of spaghetti, an extra box of potato flakes, a can or two of Spam, just to put aside for emergencies, bottled water, etc. These are all good ideas just to build up a supply a little bit at a time, because, like I said, we have no idea what's coming. Now, I'm going to offer some ideas and tips because I've been doing some of this for a long time. When I was living in New Mexico and I had a very large garden, I started learning how to can. And that was mostly for financial reasons. I wanted to grow as much as I could and just preserve it. And actually, I've still got some of that stuff in my pantry right now that is still good and still edible. Anyway, so canning is a very good skill to learn. And for some things, such as vegetables, green beans, carrots, etc., you don't need a whole lot of special equipment. Just a large pot and, good pot holders, and, mason jars. And mason jars are pretty inexpensive, considering the fact that they are reusable. So these are good resources. These are good things that you can do, especially if you grow any of your own produce, even in a small garden. Just put aside some of it for that purpose. Recently, now over time, starting from when I was advising people last year, I've been stocking up on dry goods. I've probably got 20 or 25 pounds of pasta and a few cans of Spam and flour and rice, etc. So these things remain in my pantry because I don't want to use them and then wind up needing them later. If the supply chain does and conditions improve, then these are all things that I eat in the first place. So all I'll wind up doing is saving money on my grocery bill at a later date. Lately, I have been investing in some other things that are more for long-term storage, like tomato powder. Yes, they make tomato powder. So you can add water to this and turn it into tomato sauce or tomato paste, etc. And the cost is fairly reasonable. I've got onion flakes and garlic powder. Did you know they make powdered butter? Yes, they make powdered butter and powdered cheese. So I've got a couple of, jars of that stuff set aside now. That you can also buy dehydrated potato slices and hash browns. You just add water and rehydrate them, and they're ready to go in a few minutes. And, if you buy them in any bulk, it costs a lot of money all at one time. But in the long term, it'll save you money in the long term. You don't have to have them frozen or refrigerated or anything like that. So these are good things to have on hand if you can do that. Recently, I also invested in a food dehydrator and a food vacuum system. So I'm trying my hand at preserving some things, and some I've just already discounted. They're like dehydrating tomatoes. It takes so long for them to dehydrate that you're burning energy with the dehydrator the whole time, and that winds up just costing too much. For tomatoes, I've already come to the determination that canning them is a much better option. I tried doing potato cubes, and again, those took so long to dehydrate that unless you got a freeze-dry system, which costs over $2,000, the cheapest one is over $2,000. Using just a food dehydrator, that's not so much of an option for potato cubes. Potato slices take a lot less time. That's why they're a lot more affordable and a lot more common. So now I'm currently, right now, trying dehydrating potato slices, which I sliced with, what do you call it, a mandolin slicer, and blanched them in hot oil, and then put them in the dehydrator. So I'm going to try that. Not sure how it'll turn out, but hey, it's worth a shot, right? Other recipes for dehydrating potato slices say blanch them in hot water. So I'm going to try that too, compare them and see how they turn out. Like I said, these are all experimentations. So if you can do any of these things, you can also dehydrate things in your oven. I think it's more likely that they will stick to the pan. So be sure and use, a little bit of nonstick spray or something to keep them from sticking if you try that route. Especially you can do that during the winter time when you might be using the oven anyway. So these are all just different ideas. Just a moment. Anyway, so some things I have not purchased, but they're interesting to see. I've seen things like canned dehydrated cheesecake. Obviously, you've got dehydrated fruits and vegetables, from blueberries and strawberries to your standard peas and carrots and corn and so forth, that you can use however you wish. So, and these things will keep, a lot of them say that they will keep for up to 25 years. And just for the record, we all know the big company that advertises everywhere. There are other companies and options that are less expensive than the one that spends all their money on advertising. All you have to do is just hunt around. So if you really want to know, I found one called Mre Depot, which I'm considering ordering a few test items from and see how that turns out, as opposed to the 4 Patriots that is advertising everywhere. When they spend that much money on advertising, it's going to drive up the price. There are other companies that are more expensive than 4 Patriots, but there are some that are less expensive. Quality is still a question. You can buy a lot of these dehydrated things, like the cheese and butter and so forth, off of Amazon in bulk. So, no, I'm not a big fan of Amazon, but, I'll take what I can get where I can. So, please, stock up, save things that you are going to, that you normally would eat, so that, it does no good if you stock up on a bunch of stuff that you can't eat or you just don't like, and later on you don't need it for survival. You just want it to reduce your future grocery bills. All right, so just pick up, an extra pound of rice, an extra package of pasta, potted meat, Vienna sausage, Spam, canned chicken, canned chili, this, that, something else, just little things here and there that don't need refrigeration because you don't know what is going to happen. Look at the people that have had their power knocked out in Texas earlier this year, And in Louisiana right now, if you need survival rations, if it needs refrigeration or to be frozen, it's not going to help you survive if it all spoils. So think about, actual survival first and just general benefit later on down the line. All right, so please share this video, talk about these subjects, take some action for your own safety now and in the future. All right, so thank you very much for watching. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel, and I will catch you in the next one.